Day 97? Shit, now we're gonna look. Day 97 of 100 days making comics. I'm Ox, and this is where I take at least 30 minutes out of every day to work on my independent comic. And before I get into that, here's a little fun stuff for you.
Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime?
Take a break from that music and listen to me.
Why is Optimus Prime calling me?
I am contacting you from the battlefront. Autobot scouts have detected Decepticon forces moving into Iowa.
They're coming to Iowa?
You must warn everyone you know, but be cautious with your so-called co-worker, Brittany.
God, Brittany. Leave it to Brittany.
We believe she may have joined forces with Megatron.
God, I hate Brittany.
And now goes by the Transformer name, Devastator.
Devastator?
Time is short. You must prepare for battle.
God, Brittany. Straight bitch. God, 619, dead.
Autobots, transform and roll out.
So that was a little clip from one of my Ox hours. If you want to check it out, I'll put a link in the description where you can go to my Bandcamp page and you can download all my Ox hours for free. It's basically from when I was in college. I would make a mock radio hour of songs. There's punk. It's a lot of metal. So if you're into that, I believe there's 9 albums up right now. All for free. Pay what you want, and you can put in 0 and just grab them. But yeah, that was back from the first Transformers movie. There was a thing where you could call in, and then Optimus Prime would call or leave you a message. So it was dope as hell. We had so much fun with that one little cell phone message, but Gaz got Devastator the other day, and it just made me think of that clip, so I just had to play it for you guys. On to the real stuff. As far as the 100 days of comics, I take 30 minutes out of every day to work on my independent comic. I never forgot, and today is going to be a doozy, because once I get done editing this video, issue 3 of I Never Forgot is going to get scanned in. It takes about 5 minutes to do each page. There's 23 pages, so take about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I don't know. Math and stuff. You do the math. You tell me. So that's what's going on today. I'm going to be painting later as well after I get done that scanned in. This is the non-glorious half of making comics, is all the not fun and exciting stuff that you have to do. I wanted to talk about a lot of things today, so bear with me. It's probably going to be a longer video. There was a something awesome happened yesterday, and if you watched the video yesterday, those clips were, I knew what page they were almost on and where they were on the proofs and story, and I wanted reactions for certain pages. Like, I knew they were coming up on the end of the teaser pages for issue 3 that are in the second proofs, and they knew it was a big moment, and they hadn't seen it. They saw the sketch of it first probably a month and a half ago, maybe before that even, but the payoff when they did that page flip and saw it, I'll put that right here.
That is perfect. That's fucking sweet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a pure and honest moment. It was just mind-boggling, like, to have that payoff. Because when you're making comics, you will stare at a project and work on it for a solid 2 months, and at some point in there you don't know what you're doing is working anymore, and you kind of have to have some feedback to be able to tell that you're on the right path and whatever. Like, okay, I'm sure you've seen Apollo 13 with Tom Hanks and all them. When they slingshot around the moon and they have no guidance of how to get back to Earth, and they have the bright idea of, as long as they can keep that moon in that little triangle, or the Earth in that little triangle window, they could do a full thrust and get back to the Earth as faster than they were intending anyway. But that was about the only way they could guide themselves. It's kind of like that. It's like, you know you're on the right path, but you just need that little push. And I strongly suggest you have a few friends that know what you're trying to do with the story, and they can help and throw in some tips and, like, maybe some things you haven't thought about yet. And, like, when they see the payoffs that you're trying to get, they have so much, like, they get the payoff just like anybody else would, but with them knowing where it's leading, that payoff is even more, because they know this is where they don't see any more for a while, but they know what's coming. And it's still going to be the same oomph and presence for other people, but to have people test it out before to know that it actually works. So you can go gung-ho on the story even more. It not only amps you creating, but it puts you in the right mind spot, so you know what you're doing is where you want to be a month ago or so. And that's a big part of why I try to get to them when I have at least one stage done, like the roughs or the inking and something of the next issue done, so they can kind of see where I am and know where I'm headed. So yeah, that real moment made yesterday completely worth it. Like, I honestly can't describe how awesome it was to have that. And I don't think many creators get to see firsthand people experience. Like, they hope that that effect they're trying to achieve is happening, but I don't think they get to see it as close as I got. So with that all said, I think 2 months is the perfect window for a new issue, because from the roughs, that's all creative. When you're doing the inks, it's basically you could turn a lot of your brain off, because the lines are there. All you have to do is basically trace them, go over them, define them more, but you don't have to think so hard about it, I would assume. And then coloring, you have to get back into it and use your creative juices again. So it's the perfect lull, inking, because you know it has to get done, and you don't have to work towards it. You just have to work at it, if that makes any sense. But I don't know if it does. So there was a list of, or somebody tagged me last night with an artist, one of those artist lists, like when you buy from an artist, you don't just get the piece of art, you get the time they spent refining their craft and all this other stuff, and you get a little piece of their soul, which rang so true to me, is because after my friend saw issue 3 inks and we had a good talk about this whole self-harm and suicide thing, like, it was reaffirming to know that this whole issue I'm trying to get in the conversation about isn't gimmicky. That's the last thing I wanted to come across, is because this thing really matters to me, and it's such a hard thing to talk about, because it's not, I mean, when you start talking about it, you find other people along the same lines and stuff, and the conversation opens up. But it's that initiating the conversation that gets to be the hard part, because you feel like you're alone in all this, and you really are not. Find a close friend. I have a lot of friends that at this point know that I've had depression in the past and still deal with them from time to time. Like, it's good to have people in your corner, because knowing is great and all, but reaching out can be difficult at a lot of times, and all it takes is a phone call, and any of your close friends will stay up and talk to you at night. Like, I've handled those calls, I've made some of those calls, and honestly, if you ever need to talk, find me on a social media, and I will give you my phone number if you need somebody to talk to. I'm here for you. I've been there. It's not an easy issue to deal with by any means, and a lot of us go through it, but nobody wants to talk about it. So I'm so glad that that whole side of the story gives the character depth, but it also allows my artistic soul to shine through, to give actual meaning to this. It is quite draining putting so much of myself into this work, but I believe it's going to pay off so well. Even if I help one person to reach out to a friend and call them, I mean, it's absolutely worth it. Because we're all in this together, and nobody is actually alone, because you should never think like that. I know I can say that and all, but I've been there many nights, and like, hearing it is something completely different than thinking it, and you just have to get out of your headspace from time to time. So with all of that, there was a second list I saw, which I will put right here.